My name is Dick Folse. I'm a professional artist living in Bloomington, Illinois. I've been painting for 30 years and I work in landscapes, and lately I've been doing more abstracted landscapes. I went to art school in the late 80s and got a Master's of Fine Art in 1990. I did some teaching at universities and then went into corporate America and became an administrator at a university. I have worked as an artist on weekends and in the evenings and over lunch hour and pretty much any time that I had available when I wasn't making a living. When I started painting, I was very interested in illusionistic space, and I had artists that I was inspired by, like George Inness and Martin Johnson Heade and the Hudson River School. I live in Illinois, and it's an area where you really are enveloped by the landscape. So I have had it around me. I see it every day. I think about it. And I worked in a representational manner for a long time. But color has become very important over the years. The space is often, for me, developed through manipulation of color and shape. And so I have evolved into an interest in the last number of years in a more modernistic or contemporary idea of space forming and art, and that has impacted my work. So this exhibition has work that is spanned over a 2-year period. The first work group in this exhibition is really more a color field landscape painting. The color is helps define the space. Many times the canvases are square in shape, and that is a very interesting shape to do with landscape painting because it takes away the vastness of the landscape. I spent 6 weeks this past summer living in Japan at a professional artist residency, and I was very interested in having the culture and the topography of the land there influence the work. And so I did a series of work that was related to that. I also have done some work that is more shape-based abstractions. Typically, I like to work from my imagination. So I'm not painting a specific place, but I am influenced by the places that I see and the places that I go. I set up situations where accidents happen in the process of making art. So many times I'll start a painting by using spray paint and masking out areas and letting the paint evolve and create shapes that I then will respond to later. When I went to Japan, I used the Japanese newspapers, which were very interesting because the language is represented vertically and they often use rectangle shapes to box in the language, and so I would collage the newspapers onto the canvas, and sometimes I use spray paint as a starting point as well, and then I would let the paintings evolve from that. What I have discovered over the years is that paintings seem to have a mind of their own in terms of where they ultimately want to go. And so part of them, I think the maturity of working for a long period of time is allowing the process to impact what is the ultimate result of the pieces. There is a painting called Onishi 1. It was one of the first paintings I started when I arrived in Japan. And I was collaging newsprint onto the canvas and trying to determine how it would impact the ultimate result of the painting. The buildings in the town where I was, the community is a small town on the river in the mountains, and the buildings are very close together. And in Japan, oftentimes you will have people who live in the same building where their business is. And so you'll see some really interesting scenarios. There'll be a scrapyard, and in the backyard of a very beautiful traditional Japanese home, and then of course the landscaping and the plants are the idea of grooming their yards with plants or with bonsai is everywhere. And so you have a very compressed sense of space because they're putting lots of different types of activities into one small area. Since it was in the mountains, you had a sense of moving up all the time, up the hill. And so I think when you look at the paintings that were done there, you get a sense that the space is moving up like you might consider a traditional Japanese Eastern style space forming. One of the things that I'm very cognizant of, having worked for a long period of time, is that influences come from many places. So when I started as an early artist, I was very interested in certain artwork when I went to an art museum. There were painters who inspired me and others that I was not very interested in and didn't really take the time to look at. It has been of interest to me to see how my tastes in art and my perceptions of what's occurring in art, in the art world, has changed over time. I will discover somebody that I have known for a long time but haven't really looked at carefully enough and be inspired by that, and those people often will influence my work greatly. You know, before I went to Japan, I started looking at Donald Sultan's work and listening to some of the things that he had talked about in terms of his art making process. And some of those aspects have found their way into my work. I'm always interested in how, over the career of an artist, we are influenced by many, many things. As an artist, we create our work, and it's a lot about ourselves, but we don't create it in a vacuum, and viewers come to see our work, and they bring their own experiences and ideas and responses to the work. That's part of what is exciting about being an artist. I am pleased to be exhibiting in Bloomington at the McLean County Art Center because it's an opportunity for people that are in the community where I live to actually see the work that I've been doing. I think that we have a vibrant art community in this area, and it's important for us to support that.